Okay, so for the record, I'm reading this as an interim chair. This is the reorganization meeting, so we do not have a staff person assigned to the housing subcommittee, so I'm just reading it in the interim. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, GL Chapter 30A, Section 18, and Governor Healy's March 29th, 2023 revised order extending remote participation by all members in any meeting of a public body. This meeting of the Housing Subcommittee will be conducted via remote participation. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and/or parties with a right and/or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the town's website. For this meeting, members of the public and committee members may attend the meeting remotely by following the instructions at the top of the agenda. For those who are not in person, every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. Pursuant to MGL 7C 30A Section 20F, after notifying the chair of the public body, any person may make a video and/or audio recording of an open session of a meeting of a public body or may transmit the meeting through any medium. At the beginning of the meeting, the chair shall inform attendees of such recordings. This meeting is being recorded by the town. Any member of the public wishing to speak at the meeting must receive permission of the chair. The listing of agenda items are those reasonably anticipated by the chair, which may be discussed at the meeting. Now, all items listed may in fact be discussed, and or other items not listed may be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by law. Let me just check. Oh yeah, I see Jeremy. Yay, hold on. Bring him in. Yay. All right. He missed my spiel. Maybe I'll have to do it again.
Which spiel? The Governor Baker spiel?
Yeah.
No, I
timed
was
it really
here
well
for all of that.
Actually, Jeremy, it's the Governor Healy spiel.
Oh yeah, now it's good.
Yeah, the Governor Healy's. That's
Yeah.
right.
Well, it's funny because we still have to put Baker. I guess it's going to be changed.
Because it was originally his order, right?
Yeah. And then we have to, so they're both in. So Jeremy, what I mentioned is that I'm acting as interim chair. We don't.
Yeah, because we have to reorganize. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Heard that
normally
part.
a staff person would be doing this. So if anyone is okay with me acting as an interim chair just to call the meeting to order, I will do so. Is that okay with you guys?
Please do.
Okay, so I'm gonna call the meeting of the Housing Subcommittee to order as interim chair and do a roll call. Jeremy?
Here.
Malcolm?
Here.
Garfield?
Here.
And I am here. Okay, before we get to the approval of minutes, we should probably do the reorganization of a chair and a vice chair. So I will ask for any nominations. We'll start with chair.
Do you want to continue?
I would, yes.
Make a nomination. I would make a move to nominate or have Lee still be the chair.
I'll second that.
Okay, a roll call. Garfield?
Aye.
Malcolm?
Yes.
Jeremy?
Aye.
And I happily accept. Thank you very much. We'll do.
I think you vote too, though.
Oh, and I vote yes. Happily accept and I vote yes. Okay, so we'll do a nomination for the vice chair. A nomination.
Malcolm, do you still want to do that?
Yeah, I'll continue to do it.
That would be great.
I'll nominate Malcolm for vice chair of the Housing Subcommittee.
I'll second that.
Okay, roll call. Jeremy?
Aye.
Garfield?
Aye.
Malcolm?
Yes.
And I am aye. Super. So great. That was wonderful. And Malcolm, are you okay with continuing to do minutes?
Yeah. Right. Sorry.
Reluctant, yeah.
I am so sorry I didn't get those out. I
Oh,
actually
no.
hope I did, but I didn't. So.
I totally understand. I appreciate you doing that. So I sent out the April 25th minutes just right before the meeting. You guys probably haven't had a chance to take a look.
Yeah.
But
saw
I
that.
can
Why don't we defer them until the next meeting?
Yeah, let's defer that. So we'll hold that and we'll come back to that. But I did send them at approximately around 5 o'clock. So if you do get a chance, we'll revisit that.
Which is the
Okay,
day-
subcommittees, announcements and statements. Jeremy.
I guess I don't have anything, but I'll defer to Malcolm.
Yeah, the planning board has requested a follow-up joint meeting with the select board, which I think is tentatively scheduled for some, I can't remember the date, Jeremy, maybe you remember it. It's after I
Yeah.
can.
It's there, I don't remember it.
And the purpose of that is twofold. One is there's a consensus within the planning board that we should have a kind of a bring people together kind of meeting like we have proposed. And so we want to bring that up at this meeting. And also, I wanted to have the meeting because I think it's about time, maybe it's a good time for us to ask the select board and the planning board to review what our charter is and where we should be going in the next year. You know, we've got something, we put together our spreadsheet, you know, some of the things have been acted on, some of the things have been acted on, but now where do we go? I mean, there's a bunch of stuff there that we can't act on. And so where do we go from here? And I think that would be a good discussion as well.
Okay, the charter of the housing subcommittee or?
Yes.
Okay.
Or yes.
Okay,
yes.
And so our tentative date was like prior to your meeting on Monday, July 24th.
No, 24, sorry.
oh, you mean, so we meet at 6, so like at 5 or something?
Yeah, so I think
Yeah.
it was tentative because Brandy hadn't confirmed that date and time with Steve yet.
Okay. Okay, so I'll wait to hear from that, but tentatively, July 24th at 5, I'm assuming an hour before. our
Yeah,
meeting.
an hour before your meeting, yeah.
Okay. And can I just get clarity on the meeting? Did you mean like a symposium, Malcolm? Is that what?
Yes.
you mean?
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of enthusiasm for the idea of not just getting housing experts together, but also community members and other things. We're also starting to look at the issue of updating or redoing master plan.
Yeah,
So, you know, these probably dovetail to some extent.
okay.
I would suggest they meet with the affordable housing at some point too. We had talked about it.
Right.
It was something that I wanted to, because remember, again, we have all our these committees and they,
Yeah.
like Malcolm said, almost kind of getting things together and people together.
Yeah, and I attended
Every day, of course, but
a few days ago, I attended Affordable Housing 101 run by Berkshire Housing. It was at the Lenox Town Hall. I don't know if you guys knew about it, but they took Chapa's presentation and they tried to localize it. And it was similar to the symposium idea that we're talking about. So, you know, they had a kind of a regional discussion about the issue of lack of affordable housing, and then broke it into smaller subgroups.
Hey, Claire, Blair Thompson forgot to saw him in the parking lot, and I'm gonna go get his curb cuts.
Oh,
Sorry.
I thought we were being Zoom bombed. Oh, geez.
Yeah,
Like,
there's
oh,
a
no.
bunch of walkies in this room I'm in.
Oh, are you at work?
Yeah, I'm still at work.
Oh, sorry about that. So just really quickly, so what they did is the people that were there, and it was all South County. So like Ben Elliott, I saw was there. Caroline Valley from Habitat was there. Berkshire Regional Planning was there. So it's kind of an interesting mixture, but they were trying to get similar, you know, the discussions talking on a more regional level. And I think they could be a really good resource for us as well. So, you know, there's many kind of different hives talking about having a symposium, and that was one step. So, okay.
So one of our things with specifically with this, it was how to engage the public. And so instead of
Yeah.
Instead of the, like the, the town stakeholders or whatever, it's
Yeah.
really the public side is what we were trying to get at. And it was more in response to like, I think feedback that other members of the board had gotten, like post town meeting and just, their experience at town meeting. And so,
Yeah, that's a really good point. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's, we can talk among ourselves, but the public's not really getting that communication, doesn't help things. So I think that's
What are we trying to meet out to the public, may I ask?
sorry.
What are we trying to engage the public in? What are we?
So I mean, one of the things with town meeting is it always seems like it's the first time a lot of the voters are hearing about these things, so we've had discussions about these things for months, and people show up to town meeting and don't know about these, and then all of a sudden, they find their stake in it and they're engaged, and so it's just trying to start that sooner.
The idea, I just wasn't sure what we were.
I mean, I think it's that and other things too. I mean, I think part of it is, like what we're talking about, what we were talking about with.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, but I think bringing it, and I think one of the planning board members had like to try to, there was an idea that we floated around of having it like the town not running it, some like outside person running it too, to keep it more. But anyways, I mean, the overall thing was just engagement, I think. At least that's
it's Great Barrington centric. Is that what we're saying? Like, this is what's happening in Great Barrington. This is what we're doing, and this is the forward movement. Okay.
Right. That's okay. That's all right.
Okay, so it's not we're not trying to bring all of South County here.
No,
Okay.
we're not trying to bring all South County, all of Berkshire. It's really about Great Barrington.
Super.
What can we do for people?
Excellent.
Great.
Okay. Great. Did you have anything else, Malcolm? We're just still in announcements. Garfield, did you have any announcements?
No, thank you.
Okay. I have one announcement on June 12th. At the select board's meeting, Ross is going to present his findings on one of the two initiatives that we brought forward to the select board and planning board. He's going to be talking about the real estate transfer fee initiative and talk about the data. And so we'll have a chance to hear that. And it would be great for you guys to, come along and support it. And this is the one that over a certain amount of sales price, in terms of the median sales price, percentage of sales would go towards replenishing the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. So we had taken, various scenarios, and he ran a spreadsheet and looked at FY22 as an example, and is going to run through the various scenarios of what it might look like. So that's on June 12th at the select board meeting. And
are you going to see any of that before the meeting?
Yeah. I've seen it before. And I've seen the spreadsheet that he's done. So
is it possible to circulate that prior to the meeting?
It's definitely going to be shared. Well, let me talk to Ross and see. I mean, I'm assuming that will be in the packet for sure. I'm not sure if it's ready to be shared right now. It was just something I saw like on his computer screen, and he was just wondering if this is what we were thinking of. And I said yes. So it'll for sure be in the packet. So
Lee, I'm going to be out of town on the 12th. We're out in Spokane. My daughter pack up. I'll try to make the meeting, but I may not be able to make it. But if you can do anything to us, that would be wonderful.
Okay.
Yeah,
definitely.
I'm also going to be out of the state as well.
Okay. All right. So,
but I'm going to try to jump on Zoom.
Great.
Yeah, me too.
All right. And we'll, obviously invite the Affordable Housing Trust members because this directly affects them. And, this will be the first presentation of many, I'd say, or, public discussion. So this is the beginning of it. And the thought is to see if it advances enough to go to a special town meeting warrant. So that's
may I ask for a little clarification on this, please?
Yeah.
All right. When we're saying public meeting, are we speaking actually to the town of Great Barrington? Or are we just having this meeting that we normally have, but it's open to the public? Like a normal
About
open,
this initiative that I'm speaking about, Garfield?
right?
No, this is just a select board meeting and it's going to be an agenda item. Ross will make a presentation and it'll be presented to the select board and then anyone can comment on it. And then
Okay.
at that meeting, the select board will decide what to do next. So it's just the beginning of, introducing that initiative.
Did we speak of approaching the people of Great Barrington on their feelings about ADUs, et cetera? I know maybe jumping a little ahead, but sometimes it makes me think we've talked about that because we don't really know, do we?
We haven't brought ADUs yet forward.
We homes and
Yeah, that's definitely on our list of initiatives, housing initiatives. That hasn't gotten that far. The only two that we brought at that meeting, that I think it was the April 12th meeting, I believe, was the two initiatives. It was the tax abatement and it was the transfer fee. So those are the two. But there's, many, as you know, there's many initiatives that we're kind of going through one by one. So before I want to go forward, I just want to do a quick postmortem of the annual town meeting, some thoughts, takeaways. We won't dive too much in, I want to wrap this up by 6:30. But does anyone have any thoughts about how it went or surprises or comments that you heard afterwards?
Well,
I mean,
was-
without getting too heavy into the.
right. Well, I was a little surprised that 39 went passed by 2 votes. I was a little surprised about that, and the people that voted surprised me. I was surprised that they took like that initiative.
Yeah. Well,
There's
I will
things
say,
have to about it, but we're not going to get too deep. So that was just my
yeah.
2 cents.
Well, I do know on 39, I can say that town council is looking at it because now the registration has to shift and there's some reworking in terms of what that means in terms of the 150-day cap. So I am aware that town council has been requested to take a look at the bylaw and see if anything needs to shift or how that affects things.
How does that change the 150-day cap?
If the 150-day count is going to come from the landlord, so they have a 150-day count based on a property. So is that 150-day now going to be given to it'll be the property and the tenant. So now have we split it basically? So the tenant now has 150 days that they can use. And then the owner of the property that the bylaw was actually written, the owner of a property has 150 days. So they want to take a look at that just to make sure that.
So you're talking about a property that has more than 1 unit? So the owner's occupying one or more than 2 units? So the owner's occupying one, the tenant's occupying another.
That's
And
one scenario.
or because I think this you could see as, so an owner of a property has a long-term renter on a separate property than their own. So now that property could have 150 days, right? So I think it's a separate property, right? Because the other one is the owner still, if they're right, if they're occupying their own property and they have and they want to do a room in their house, they still could, right? Because it's
Well, they're
it's
going
a
to take a look at the
separate
bylaw to see how that would work, if that's, yeah.
Alright.
So, I had a question in terms of the zoning that went on Stockbridge Road. Is
Mhm.
that just for clarification? Is that?
It's
10
not just Stockbridge Road, it's
Or
B2. So
Oh,
it's
okay, it's
got
B2,
some
okay.
South Main.
Okay, thank you. Was that 10% or can you just kind of walk me through a little bit and that's it for 10 years or just some of the,
So basically, the point of the bylaw was to allow by right development of housing in the B2, provided that it included 10% affordable housing. So it's not by right if it doesn't include 10% affordable housing. They have to go through the whole special permit process and everything else.
okay.
So
And-
that's the main incentive.
So isn't it usually inclusionary zoning 20%, or how did you come to 10%? Or it was just kind of, did you go back and forth between the 10 and 20, or? Oh, you did, okay, I missed that. And was it the reason 10, you didn't want to deter too many developers because you thought maybe 20 was too much, or?
So-
I
So I
guess
mean, I think
some of
the
vast
idea,
majority-
I think the idea is that once you make the threshold too high, it's never going to get used, right? And so all of these kinds of things, when you're talking private developers, it's all got to work. The numbers all have to work. And so I think the thinking is that once you get up to that 20% number, the numbers just don't work anymore. And so, I mean, and it's part, so it was trying to make the development more equal between commercial and housing. So right now there's, you can have by right development of commercial development in the B2, but not housing, over, what is it, over 4 units? Or wait, no.
units, yeah.
Mm,
4
okay.
more units.
And how
so-
how many years is that?
Hmm?
How many years does the developer?
For the
have?
affordable restriction.
Yeah, for the restriction, is that in perpetuity, or is that 20
No.
years, 30 years, or?
What was it?
I don't want to put you guys on
Hold
the
on.
spot. I was just curious because
No, I can grab it. Do you remember, Malcolm?
Not often.
Yeah, let me,
just kind of dovetailing into the whole
So-
Allender thing, with
yeah,
that.
so the whole idea of with private developers doing affordable housing in perpetuity, I think that's a non-starter. I think that's just a way of having something on the books that's never going to get used. And so again, it's still in that range of, can we get something that's actually going to happen,
So
Um,
the bylaw says for 20 years.
20 years, yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right. Anyone else have anything else to say about the?
And so, well, I'm just wondering, like, were you surprised, Garfield, that it only passed by 2 votes? Were you surprised that, I mean, were you surprised that it was close, or?
Well, first of all, I have to honestly admit that I was a little off on realizing what it had to pass by, because I thought it had to pass by more than 2 votes. And I was just surprised.
Oh,
that
sorry, and I'm going back to 39, not to the B2 thing.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that passed by 2 votes, and I had not realized. I thought it had to have a majority. So obviously 2 votes is not a majority. And I was just surprised that some of the people, for me, that voted to have that included surprised me. That's what surprised me. Some of the people I didn't think would did, and I was not one of them.
Okay.
Well, I voted for it, and I think Jonathan had spoken to us about this before, and I know he's brought it up in this committee as well. And, it's just trying to make it, I mean, it's not really still equal, because it has to be the landowner has to approve it before a renter can do it. But it was just trying to make it, it was trying to make this as an option for a long-term renter as opposed to just for a landowner.
I understand. There are some glitches in that, so.
But what do you mean? What do you mean glitches in it?
Oh, some things I guess need to be meted out, but we're not going to do that here right now, I guess. Is that
You
the
mean
case?
you mean just with the 150 days and sorting that out?
Right, and the tenant and possibly him, I don't know, I have to look at it again, but there's some thoughts that I thought that maybe this tenant, if they like, they could maybe go to their cousins, if you will, and stay there because they know they can make more money not being there and renting it out, and therefore making more money than the landlord, I'm sure, would like. And I think if that happened, it's only human nature that the landlord's going to raise their price as well. No one's going to let the tenant make more money than they're already
Well, no, the landlord doesn't have, that's not the landlord's only option. The landlord could just say that the short-term rental can just not happen. And then, right? And so then the landlord doesn't have to raise the rent. The landlord can just say, hey, you can't do that. Right?
Well,
That's the,
that is one of the things that could possibly happen. Of course, they could say that. But of course,
Yeah.
there's a possibility of what I just described
Well,
could also happen.
yeah, but the same thing could happen with the landlord, right? Like the
Okay,
landlord could do
yeah,
the landlord could do the same thing. And
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I mean,
Yeah,
you can abuse, I mean, any of these things you can abuse. I mean, I think this is just something to allow, renters, the opportunity to make it work to stay in Great Barrington when maybe they otherwise couldn't, and so I don't know. I mean, or if they have an extra room. I mean, there are some benefits of short-term housing, of short-term rentals as well. It's not completely negative. And so if the instance where a renter is a single person, they have a 2-room place and their landlord is cool with it and they want to help to supplement their rent, to paying their rent, they want a short-term rental, then, and they do it, it brings, it's bringing people into town and it's not taking away, that unit from long-term renting. The tenant's still renting it. And so I don't know. I mean, I thought
To make more money, if that was your place, you would probably want more money. I don't want to get into it here because I guess this is
let's, I think that opens up a can of worms because I
yeah,
definitely,
and
I
so
obviously have really strong feelings about it, but
yeah, and so the landlord, I mean,
Jeremy,
people have to have
Jeremy,
conversations.
let's drop it, Jeremy.
yeah, let's drop it.
Okay.
Okay. But thank you. And I think this is probably, it might be continued, but maybe let's try to get through this meeting. What I wanted to talk about is, the housing worksheet. So we had, I was going to put up where we are, and we're not going to go too in depth, but I just want to review our housing initiatives. And Malcolm, did you ever hear back from Chris Rembold about the leadership?
Not yet.
Okay.
No.
Is that something you want to share right now with this group and maybe use that as a jumping off point, or do you want to go back?
I'll be happy to share it, but you know what? It's not ready yet, Lee. I haven't heard anything back from Chris.
No problem.
I don't think I should.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'm gonna just quickly put up the last draft of the housing initiatives, which I think, unless Malcolm, you have a later one or more.
No, I have the same one you got.
Okay, so I'm gonna share this, and what I'd like to do is refresh our memory and get a sense of, from all the committee members, what's the most pressing of these initiatives that you feel that we should hone in on. Now, I see that Vivian is on board, and thank you, Vivian, for attending. Obviously, we didn't get to that particular initiative, so let me share this, and bear with me one sec.
Yeah, Lee, can I ask, where has Vivian's initiative gone?
So what was supposed to happen was the select board was going to discuss and
Yep.
it never made it into an agenda.
And do we know if that's gonna?
I do not know that, with the special, with the airport, and, we had a lot of permits, and there's a lot of
Yeah.
stuff going on, so we just did not have time. We ran out of
I
time.
mean, that one, to me, I would put that close to the top because it's basically the select board just deciding. And, it's a minimal effort and it has, it have a big impact on, one of the vulnerable parts of the population. And, I mean, it's
What
awesome.
number? Let's see, where, oh, this one, okay. All right, I'm just gonna make a note. Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's pretty much the select board's discussing it. I think it's just a matter of trying to find a place in the agenda. I can mention it to Steve again and see if we can get it back in there. Vivian, let me, I see Vivian, hold on one sec. Vivian, I'll let you speak, but I'm just trying to keep it short. Hold on one sec.
Terrifying.
Sorry, I'm just getting my Zoom back. Where is my Zoom? Hold on a sec. Okay. Hey. Vivian, you can talk.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm not sure it's just a question of wording or whether the item you highlighted is a different item, because there are senior tax exemptions for very low income people. My proposal concerned the I guess it was a bylaw passed at last year's town meeting in 2022, which is a senior tax deferral, not an exemption. And there's a big difference. An exemption means that it frees the taxpayer from paying a certain amount, and a deferral means that they not only have to pay in full, but they have to pay with interest when the house is transferred or they sell or pass away, whatever.
Okay.
So there's a big difference. So I don't know if it's a wording issue or whether you have another item on your list that is the senior tax deferral.
Okay. I'll take a look at that. Thank you.
I think it's,
Let me go back to sharing the screen. I think we had two items.
we have a few of them there. Number 19 is also property tax relief. Senior tax exemption number 24. I think number 19 up there on the.
Oh,
top
okay.
is-
This, yeah, that's it. Okay.
and
Well,
basi-
yeah.
Basically, Vivi, I think your proposal was really to expand the property tax relief.
Yeah, just widen the audience, right? Because it
Yeah.
doesn't, like, so few people take advantage of it now.
Yeah, and I definitely have the notes on that, so we'll make sure that that's properly discussed. Okay, so does anyone else have something taking a look at this initiatives? Is there something that's kind of rises to the top? We talked about having a symposium, which I believe is here, there. That's the one that you just mentioned.
But I thought, I thought the one that we had on there was more like town stakeholders and that sort of thing, and bringing in, outside experts and things, not necessarily, not the main thing, not being like community engagement.
Well, I think it's it can be tweaked. It sounds like this is more specific for GB, but it's some kind of housing symposium. So it sounds like we would be talking specifically about Great Barrington, but it's a housing symposium of sorts.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna have two, Jeremy.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
just one. Definitely not. But that's essentially in a nutshell what I think we're talking about.
Yeah, but I like the idea of expanding it to include, town residents in the discussion, not just outside experts.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
7, I think, is important. We had talked about this, but we haven't really delved into it, have we not? Identifying affordable downtown housing, work to keep it affordable.
What number was that again?
7.
7.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So that's actually a good point, Garfield. So
But how does that exactly work?
yeah, so I had at some point last year, I had asked town staff to put together a list of downtown apartments. So,
Yep.
The Berkshire Block, the Marble Block, Silver Street, the apartments are in Silver Street, just to get a sense of these big blocks of housing. So we do have a list, and it's basically to create an inventory of, what is organically affordable right now. So what is affordable right now, just so we have a sense of, if it does come up for sale, such as Marble Block, that we are identifying that and doing what we can to create the inventory and try to ensure that we're able to keep it affordable. Sorry, what were you saying, Garfield?
So I had a question, and so this goes back to the Allender proposals, right? And so like, what was that a referendum on, right? And so to me, what the issue was with that, and why I was hesitant when it was still at the CPC, was that it was a lot of money for a little bit of units for a short time. And so this line item, it's like the town could be very effective, but it is a lot of money to keep those units affordable. So, you know, and I think, you know, I don't know, you know, so I mean, I think there's two things, right? Right now we have affordable housing that's income qualified, right? And that's going to stay that way. But then we have a lot of quote unquote affordable housing because it's just, you know, properties where maybe the landowners or the property owners is just artificially keeping it low. Maybe it's just, you know, they don't want to do the upkeep and bring things, you know, and renovate things. And so they're, you know, and so then it's a low rent. And, you know, if it's those cases, it's like, you know, it's a lot of money for the town to keep it affordable. It's going to be, I mean, the likely mechanism or the easiest mechanism is the trust, just, you know, buying the property when it becomes available, or the trust, you know, contacting the landlord if, you know, we realize these, you know, there's going to be renovation and the rents are going to go up, and then subsidizing it to keep it affordable. But again, those are both very expensive things. And so I'm interested in what the town meeting was a referendum on. Was it on that that kind of affordable housing is just too expensive, or it's just, you know, we didn't like, you know, the town meeting didn't like the particular developer or doesn't like private developers?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know.
Didn't we have an issue? I'm sorry, didn't we have an issue with the time span? That was really more that drove people against it, if you will.
But again, what I'm saying is, it's gonna, if you want more time, it's gonna cost much more money. I mean, we could have offered him a ton of money to get a ton more time if we wanted, but I don't think, you know, I always question whether the town was ready to spend that kind of money on affordable housing.
I think it was a combination, Jeremy, and you know, without kind of really hanging too much on Allender or Ian Rash, you know, some folks felt, you know, private developers shouldn't be receiving funds. Some felt that the time wasn't enough, you know, 10 years wasn't enough, 2 units wasn't enough. So I think there's many different factors, but I think what's important to note on this number 7 is that if we identify properties, and wearing my construct hat, I'm in the midst of doing this, you know, we'll be aware of, let's say, renters about to be evicted, or properties that are, you know, having walkthroughs that are going to be sold. And so different nonprofits and towns will be made aware of a property that is now affordable that might be coming up for sale. So, you know, we want to be nimble. So whether that's a nonprofit stepping in and putting down the deposit and then figuring out funding sources, or working with the town, or working in a private partnership, you know, private public partnership, or impact investing. But I think the main thing is to identify these units and say, okay, well, you know, what happens hypothetically if this comes up for sale? So the Marble Block is a good example. That came up for sale. Craig Barnum bought it. He's saying that he's going to keep it affordable. He's in contact with the town. You know, so you know, we're aware of these blocks of housing that are very important for our workforce. So, you know, if we can get ahead of the curve and identify before we're stuck in a place that they go on for sale, and then all of a sudden a private developer puts it up for, you know, $4,000 a month apartment. So I think this is an important step.
But I'm unclear as what that mechanism is. Like how the town controls that sort of thing without the money.
Well, it's multi-layered. I mean, sorry, Malcolm, go ahead.
Jeremy, my, you know, this is very sketchy description of what a task is. My impression of this task was we would identify what the affordable housing is downtown, and then we would meet with the owners and say, what can we do? What, you know, what needs to be done to keep this affordable?
Yeah.
And it may not be money. It may be, you know, it may be something else. Who knows? But I think, creating a dialogue with the people that own the affordable housing in town can only help to open up, probably trying to retain this.
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
mean,
Those
I-
2 cents.
Yeah, Garfield, Garfield?
Is Stonegate something we're looking at or not?
Yep, that's that's in timeshare, so that's under, the legal review. And that's years and years of trying to find out the owners. But that is something that we're aware of, so.
Well, because there's like buku apartments in there, is there not?
Yep. So I mean, if the town ends up, hopefully taking it over, that'll be one thing that we can, look to
yeah, I
do.
mean, that's already, I mean, I think, yeah,
So, at this stage, we're just kind of flagging stuff. I mean, we can get further, involved in this, but I want to kind of keep this going and wrap it up in 15 minutes. Is there anything else, anyone kind of wants to flag that we can have further discussion? So what we can do is once we flag these, Jeremy, if we want to go deeper in this, we can set aside time just to have these discussions. But I wanted to kind of bring a couple to the forefront so we don't lose sight. So we have the senior tax referral. We have the symposium, which we'll talk with the planning board about identifying housing. I think that's really important. I know with Malcolm has reached out to Chris about what it takes in terms of staff leadership to go through some of these initiatives. So we're waiting to hear back from Chris to go through a list and flag things that we think the town is capable of doing or they're not capable of doing, and what actually will be involved.
And even number 7 falls under that category because we can't do that as a committee. Somebody has to be assigned.
Yeah.
Can I have a question?
Garfield.
Do 5, 6, and 7 really, are they kind of like the same? Should they all be one?
I mean, number 9 is in there too.
Yeah.
Because they're all saying the same thing, basically, if you look at them, identifying.
I think 5 already happens. I think staff is already well aware, and that's already a thing that happens. And I don't know if we need to even get involved with it, because that's a thing that's already a thing.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, with 11, I see that when, landlords, I mean, I guess that could be 7 as well, but that might be, smaller multifamily landlords. But that could go with 7 as well. So that's similar to number 7 for sure. 7 and 9. Let's see. So the property tax abatement, that's one of the things that we brought forward. Let's see. So is anything with the planning board on your radar? Like, is there things that you have talked about that you're going to be?
Well, actually, the select board did at the annual town meeting, that whole thing about the third curb cut.
Yep.
Was about infill and not rear lots specifically, but about infill. The idea that on a larger property, if you're going to create more housing, you may need another curb cut.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what that was about.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff.
Interesting. Okay. So this matching landlords with tenants, so that was something that we started talking about. There is a program, and Construct is looking into it as well, in Vermont, that there's, and I can bring this more information to another meeting, but there's an existing program in Vermont that does this, and they're set up to do this, and it's something that could be recreated maybe in our area. But
so if Construct is looking to do that, awesome.
Yeah.
Done, off of our list.
So that is on our list.
Yeah.
But I can bring you some more information just to share with you. So I'll just make a note to bring that. Okay. Anyone else?
Well, I was just wondering if we can, is this still viable or something we need to look at number 17? Because obviously Windflower is off the table, is it not, or just for construct and not us, or how's that going?
This happened, right?
No,
No,
number
that's-
17, not
yeah,
the number 17 on column B there.
Oh,
mean,
this-
that's-
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Is that what you
It's
mean, Garfield?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
It's still in our hopper. You were saying 17, the co-housing thing?
This,
Consider alternative housing types such as Windflower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's in our queue still.
yeah, I
Okay.
mean, that's, again, I know we're in construct hat, we're actively looking for another property to do, and I know CDC is, so
Yeah.
there's different partners looking at doing this. But I think, having the town's involvement as well, because
Well, you
whoever
need
ends up
the
doing this-
zoning side, because
Well, that's
right
what I was
now
saying.
that's not possible for zoning. It's only possible if it's already an inn or something like an inn.
Well, that's what I'm
it's-
saying. There are
Yeah.
other areas that could be.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, there's a number of us on the planning board that want to see something like that happen, but I think we didn't have enough time to, like, the planning board really likes to look at the unintended consequences, or try to look at the unintended consequences of things. And so I think we wanted to, right? Am I right, Malcolm, with that one?
Yeah,
We
I think
wanted
you're
to-
absolutely right. And, there were a couple things that were passed at the annual town meeting that should make things a little easier, in the sense
Mhm.
that, we changed the definitions from multifamily to multi-unit.
Mhm.
So that, you don't have to be family related to have a multi-unit home. Definitions and in the multi-housing articles. But as far as cohabit, like the kind of boarding house kind of thing, I mean, there are, historical equivalents. And we, as Jeremy said, we just need to look at it more carefully.
Yeah.
And make sure that it's right before we put it in.
Yeah, I know that there's, construct isn't looking this, but there's movement to, take motels and turn them into SROs and things like
Mhm.
that. So is that something you guys have discussed, or when you think?
It is in that kind of thing. Yeah. I mean, in other words, right now a unit it has to have a bedroom and a bathroom and a kitchen.
Yeah.
So, that's going to require a different type of housing, which.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, I'm super excited that Construct did that. With that
Yeah.
property,
Yeah.
or took that up.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a great idea that, yeah, I mean, it's something that happened, and it's something that, zoning kind of killed in a lot of places. When, we wanted single family homes.
Yeah, I
To
mean,
try
it
to-
definitely, took a lot in terms of, to keep it as an inn and not,
Yeah.
they're not renters, they're occupants. I mean, there's a
Yep.
lot of just real careful nuance that we had to follow, that we're still following. I'm happy to say that we're a full occupancy, and all the rents, no higher than $950. So they're
Lee,
all, yeah.
that would be interesting to know what you ran into
Okay,
as roadblocks.
okay.
Because that would be fascinating to know what. Now we're talking about, is that Great Barrington? That is
Yep.
Great Barrington.
It is, yeah.
So it'd be interesting to know exactly what the roadblocks were.
Okay.
I don't know, and you guys were negotiating them. So
Yep.
If you could do some kind of report to the planning board, or just something brief, maybe even a list of the things that were obstacles that you had to get around.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I have been in touch because I know the CDC is curious about what we did. And I've been working with them just to, to pass on some information. So I'd be happy to do that.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's a whole different kind of housing.
Yeah.
For Great Barrington.
Yeah.
And it really hits that kind of young, workforce housing thing,
Yeah.
which is super cool.
I mean, the key really for us is to raise enough money to duplicate that and replicate that, I should say. And, staff, construct is very, very small. So each time we take something else, we'll have 13 more, occupants that we have to manage. So it's not like we can just keep buying properties, because it's supportive housing in that, we're supporting our occupants, not just building units and walking away. So there's a lot involved in it.
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe that part would be interesting for this committee, I think. Like what kinds of support is necessary for these types of things to happen.
Yep.
And is that, I'm not sure it's something the town can do, but
Yeah, I mean, one of the, not to go too much in the windflower, but one of the reasons why it didn't go through when I met with Josh, Josh Irwin had it, and then it would go back on the market, and I met with him at the right time and asked to pitch it. And so I took his idea, changed it a little bit, pitched it to construct. But one of the things that he ran into was he could get the money to acquire it, but he couldn't, he didn't have the staff in place. He didn't have the
to manage it. Yeah.
Manager, all the extra stuff that you don't think about. So
yeah,
he had the opposite problem, is that he had the money, but he didn't have the long-term sustainability. Whereas we, we have that in place. I mean, we have managers, we have the maintenance, and then it was just a matter of fundraising, which we were, grateful to be able to do that very quickly. So, all right, minding time. So we have about 4 minutes left. Anyone else want to see anything here that we want to bring up? And what I can do is the ones that we highlight, I can put it on a next agenda and we can start carving it out and, doing a deeper dive. But I just wanted to kind of refresh everyone's memory about this worksheet.
No, that'd be good.
Okay.
When's our next meeting?
Yeah, so let's look what I was just about to do. So next meeting. You guys seem to be on holidays a lot.
it's summer.
I know, I don't get to go on a holiday. This is a holiday place, so I guess I should be thankful.
Exactly.
People come here for their holidays, so I don't complain. So what do you guys, let's see, we haven't met in a while, so I'd like to kind of keep no longer than a month if possible.
Yeah.
So it's May 30th. Let's see. We have.
I'm back the week of the 26th.
Okay.
Yeah, the 26th works for me.
Okay.
Well, that's a Monday though.
So yeah, so we could do the let's see, the 27th. Tuesday 27th?
Yes.
What day of the week?
That's a Tuesday, Garfield.
That should be all right for me. Relay will be over, so.
Okay. So let's tentatively, I'll schedule Tuesday, June 27th at 5:30. I'll certainly be here, so.
Cool.
That work?
Yep.
And then we'll take a look at the April 25th minutes.
Lee, I didn't know with Vivian's thing, do we want to send a subcommittee, do we want to vote and send a subcommittee recommendation to the select board?
I think we did that.
We did that already?
Yes. We did.
Do we want to send it again?
No, I think it's just a matter of poking, reminding the chair about this and picking up some notes. So I'm sure,
Okay.
if there's any questions, he'll reach out to Vivian. You're sideways,
great.
Jeremy.
Oh, sorry.
One of the things, just real quick, like one of the things was also the concern about the ceiling, if you will, monies, and also the interest. Wasn't that the two issues that we were to look at, or we can change? We can change. Okay.
Yeah, I'd imagine if it's going to be on the agenda, we would invite Vivian to present, or at least have something in the packet that we could study. So
Okay.
we won't do it blind.
Lee, can
Yeah.
you send out something, if this makes it onto a select board agenda, can you send out something
Yep.
to this subcommittee? So we know?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We'll surely do that.
Awesome.
Okay, so I'll take a motion to close the meeting or end the meeting.
Oh, we have to do citizens time and stuff.
Oh, gosh, thank you. Oh, gosh, yes. Thank you.
Citizens.
Do we have any citizens speak Citizens, open up to citizen speak. Thank you for keeping me honest.
Yeah. And the press, right?
Actually, Vivian has her hand up. I'm not sure if it was from before. Vivian.
Yeah, I had a quick question on the senior tax deferral,
Yeah.
when it comes for consideration to, as Garfield said, to not only raise the income level, but also to lower the interest somewhat. When that gets on the agenda, does it have to be this fiscal year? Because it would go into effect the next fiscal year after July. So it's fine with me if it goes to a select board meeting in July, but I was just wondering if you could check whether legally it needs to be decided in this fiscal year before the next fiscal year starts.
Oh, okay. All right. I will ask that. I seem to think when it went through last time, Vivian, do you recall it was in the same fiscal year? I don't think it was the prior year
That was just a recommendation for the town meeting warrant.
Oh, that was for
It
the warrant.
wasn't-
Okay, for the
yeah.
select board to make the decision. Okay, I'll ask
Yeah,
that question.
Yeah, that was a
Okay.
different situation.
Gotcha. Thank you. Media, we don't have any media here,
Oh,
so I'll take a motion to close the meeting or end the meeting.
Yeah. I make a motion, we end the meeting.
Any second?
Second.
All right, roll call. Garfield,
Aye.
Malcolm,
Yes.
Jeremy,
hi,
and me. All right, it's a great meeting.
thank you.
So much.
Thank you very much.
All
Thanks,
right, guys. All right, bye.
Yeah, bye, thanks.